Welcome back, Drew Crew. So glad to have you here with me in my virtual studio. Today I'll be doing a master copy of a painting by Joaquin Sorolla. Here's my palette. It's pretty much the same as last time. And for most of these portraits, you're not going to need anything more than these colors, which is nice to keep it simple. So, same process as usual. I'll be drawing it out, then blocking in my darks, midtones, and lights, and then most of the painting is going to be me refining shapes and blending edges and putting in subtle color transitions. Sorolla was a Spanish painter who lived from 1863 to 1923. First time I saw his name, I thought it was Joaquin Sorolla, and I don't know, maybe if Toyota wanted to come out with the Sorolla, that would be kind of a fun model to have, you know, a specialty car for artists. But no, it's Joaquin Sorolla, and he was a contemporary of John Singer Sargent. You can see a lot of similarities in their work. Here in my drawing stage, sometimes I like to block in shadows even before I get to the final color. It just helps me see the form a little bit better. Kind of like just liquid charcoal, but it's just paint. I'm wearing gloves here because I'm using traditional oil paint, and because we have the solvents we're dealing with. I try to protect myself from the toxicity as much as possible. In the previous couple of master copy paintings, I was using a water-soluble oil paint, and so I wasn't quite as concerned with the toxicity with those. This is a painting of Sorolla's wife, Clotilde. He did a number of paintings of her, and she looks happy in all of them. I think it's wonderful that you can kind of see her personality coming through in the painting. Even here, she's got a beautiful smile. If any of you have modeled for a long period of time, you know it's virtually impossible to hold a smile very long. So she was probably happy there to be with her husband as he painted her. Especially at the beginning stages here, most of these colors are gray with just a little bit of warmth or coolness to them. I have a shot of what my palette ends up looking like midway through the painting process here. You can see most of those colors are fairly neutral, rather gray. There's only a couple more intense colors which are coming up here now that I get to the midtones. And usually you'll find your strongest colors in your midtones, whether it's warm or cool light. That's kind of the perfect environment to have the color show its full strength. Sorolla was well known for his formal portraits as well as some murals, and also a lot of beach scenes. He had a lot of people out in the sunlight on the beaches of Spain. I did a little master copy of a shiny little baby on the beach from one of his paintings and gave that to my mom for Mother's Day or her birthday, and I think she's still got it in her home office. Hi Mom, hi Dad, thanks for watching, and thank you to everybody here for your support, for those who subscribe and watch my videos. Really appreciate that. Now I'm getting into that refining stage, and as I mentioned earlier, this is where most of the work happens. I've got the drawing down, got the major values and colors in, and now it just comes down to fine-tuning, which can take quite a while. I have a new feature now on my videos. I'm just zooming in on a specific area so you can hopefully see a little bit more detail what's happening there. I intended this to be a demonstration of just a nose painting. I was kind of going feature by feature with the eyes and the mouth and the nose. But as you know, the nose is connected to everything else around there, so It was such a beautiful portrait, I didn't mind adding some of those other features as well. One of the most important things about painting a nose is that bottom shadow plane. It's very helpful. Here I slowed down to show you a little bit of a transitional tone. It's just a slight little warm mid-tone that works its way from the light on the front of the nose to the shadow on the eye socket. Those transitional colors are really helpful, and it's going to make your painting look more professional. It took me a while to figure that out, probably near the end of my undergraduate degree. I know I'd heard about it, but I didn't really practice it. But now that I've painted for a few more years and looking at other artists, seeing those subtle little colors they put between light and shadow makes a world of difference, and that's going to make it a more professional look for your paintings. There's a lot of accidental marks in these paintings that you look at from the old masters. Not that they're inaccurate, it's just when you're painting, especially from life, you're going to get a lot of that spontaneity. Here the painting is dry. I've done this over a couple days here, and what I like to do is use walnut oil to oil out a section I'm going to work on. So I put a little bit on a paper towel and just wipe a super thin layer on whatever area I'm going to paint over again. As long as your paint is not going to smear, it's going to be dry enough so you don't smear it all over the place, but just a thin little glossy layer of that oil. And you can see here the eye on the left looks darker than the eye on the right. Oil paint dries a little bit lighter than what it is when it's wet. And so it works like a retouch varnish, where it's bringing the color back to what it was when it was first put on the painting. So that's going to help you with color matching. And another aspect that this is helpful for is that next layer of paint is going to glide on a lot smoother. If you try to paint wet paint on a dry canvas, on a dry underpainting, you're going to get some really scratchy, ugly edges. But this makes it almost like you're painting right into wet paint already. You can use spray-on retouch varnishes. I prefer the walnut oil. I don't have to worry about the toxic fumes building up in the studio or anything. And you can use the walnut oil. You could use an alkyd medium like Liquin or something like that if you want it to dry a little bit quicker. So here, that's just helping my paint go on a lot nicer, and it's making it easier for me to match the colors. It's been said that Sorolla painted like a pig eats, and just to restate, that's not that it was an inaccurate painting that he did, but he just attacked the canvas with such veracity and did some really beautiful work. There's work of his in museums around the world, especially in Madrid. There's the Sorolla Museum where there's a lot of his paintings, as well as in New York there's the Hispanic Society of America with a number of his paintings as well. I'm pretty sure I saw some in this Phoenix Art Museum, as well as either the Milwaukee Art Museum or the Chicago Art Museum. Here I'm slowing down again to show you that important step of putting in your transitional colors. It's just a little value shift from the shadow up to the light, so it's kind of halfway between the shadow and light in value. And then the color is unique as well. It's not just a lighter or darker version of the surrounding colors. These paintings by these old masters, they're kind of deceptive. You look at it and you think, oh, I could paint that in an hour. Maybe they could, but they were so good. They had so much control with their values and colors and brush strokes. And I'd say probably in a large part due to the fact that they painted mostly from life. That is the best and quickest way to learn how to paint or draw, is to work from life. I think I've said that before, but it's worth reiterating. So much beautiful, subtle colors and soft little value shifts in this painting. I'm planning on doing one more master copy for you in this series. I'd like to do an ear. I'll have to still look up somebody's ear to focus on and to paint. I might not get to it this week. Grading is coming in, so that takes a while, but I do have something planned if I'm not able to get a painting video up for you for next week. I'll have to work maybe this Christmas and summer on stockpiling some videos and make sure I get some new content out for you. I try to go every week, get a new video out. There may be a time in my life where I'm not able to, but for now, I'm glad to get these out as often as possible. I like the eyes here even better than the eye I did from the Sargent painting a couple videos ago. We get that nice highlight, which is a really beautiful effect. And her eyes are such beautiful deep brown eyes. There's just a faint bit of brown in the iris there. And here I'm reestablishing the colors, putting in some more of those subtle little transitions in the lower third of the face. And you can see with that limited palette I'm using, you can get plenty of color. You can get some greenish tones, some blue and purple tones, pretty much every skin tone you'll need for any complexion. Trying to get that background in. And we're approaching the end of the painting now. But even at the end of the painting, I'm still concerned with accuracy and trying to make sure things are right. And there's more I could have done on this painting, but I did the best I could with the time I had here. And I slowed this section down because I wanted you to see that even at this end stage, I'm still correcting drawing. That jaw needed to be a little bit wider. So don't be afraid to adjust drawing, even if you're, well into the painting. That's why it's good to spend the time in the beginning of the painting to try to get your drawing as accurate as possible. But you do, with oil paint, always have that liberty to adjust your drawing each step of the way. And then I just take a step back here, see if any edges needed to be adjusted. It's very helpful to step back from your work every so often. My camera only does half-hour segments that I can record, so that kind of forces me to take breaks. But step away from your painting, and when you come back with fresh eyes, it's amazing how much more you can see. So let's analyze some of the edges in the face. First off, where you could see some sharp edges, anywhere that's overlapping with high contrast, like the tip of the nose overlapping the nostril, the eyelids overlapping the eyes. Softer edges are usually going to follow. You can still find some softer edges on the edge of the face, the shadow down in the bottom of the nostril, and then lost edges from the cheek down to the shadow where it's virtually indistinguishable. So thank you again so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.